Okay, this presentation is going to go over The Great Gatsby Chapter 7. In this chapter, there is an epic blowout between Gatsby and Tom. It's been brewing the entire story. They're both in love with the same woman, and finally, at the hotel, the plaza in New York City, they have a showdown. And I kind of broke up the worksheet um, by rounds because each quote given goes to either Gatsby or Tom. It kind of goes back and forth for a little while until at the end there is a very clear winner. Okay, so here are the first three rounds. The quote: As he left the room again, she got up and went over to Gatsby and pulled his face down, kissing him on the mouth. "You know I love you," she murmured. So, round one goes to Gatsby. Daisy is kissing Gatsby as soon as her husband leaves the room. And furthermore, she's doing it in front of Jordan and Nick. There's no secret about it. Um, in addition, she says, "I love you" to Gatsby just as soon as her husband walks out of the room. So it's clear here, this round, he is the winner. Round two. A freshly laundered nurse leading a little girl came into the room. A nurse in this case is like a nanny. "Blessed precious," she crooned, holding out her arms. "Come to your own mother that loves you." So Daisy in this scene is welcoming her little girl into the room and kind of like showing her off. This round goes to Tom because this is a huge reminder to Gatsby that Daisy has baggage. Baggage in the form of a family. That is Tom's child. They are bound by more than a marriage certificate. It's not like she can tell Tom, "I don't love you anymore," and see you later. They're always going to be united and tied because of this child that complicates things. And it's not that Gatsby didn't know she had a child. He knew. He kept very close tabs on her. But I think there's a quote in the story that says something like, up until this moment, he didn't really feel like she was real. And now here she is standing before him, materialized. And this is a big blow to Gatsby. Round three. "I've heard of making a garage out of a stable," Tom was saying to Gatsby, "but I'm the first man who ever made a stable out of a garage." So this round goes to Tom. This might seem like a very subtle blow, but he's insulting Gatsby because he's reminding him that he himself is old money, whereas Gatsby is just new money. So old money we know is inherently better than new money. Having a horse is a higher status than having a car. You can have the fanciest car in the world, and Gatsby does, but you still don't have a horse, which means that you're new money. You weren't born and bred with all that money in your blood, and that makes you less. Okay, round four. "Ah," she cried, "you look so cool." Their eyes met, and they stared together at each other, alone in space. With an effort, she glanced down at the table. "You always look so cool," she repeated. This round goes to Gatsby. She is complimenting him and basically flirting with him right in front of Tom's face. And if you look at Tom's reaction, his jaw literally drops. He can't believe what he sees. He looks at Daisy with his jaw on the floor and looks at Gatsby, and it's like in that moment everything clicks for Tom and he realizes what's going on here. Daisy, it says with an effort, she looks down at the table. So she's kind of like so obsessed with Gatsby and so into him that she has to kind of like force herself to look away. So that round clearly goes to Gatsby. Round five. "Come on, Daisy," said Tom, pressing her with his hand toward Gatsby's car. "I'll take you in this circus wagon." He opened the door, but she moved out from the circle of his arm. "You take Nick and Jordan. We'll follow you in the coupe." This round goes to Gatsby. So even though it seems like Tom gets his little insult in, he calls Gatsby's car a circus wagon. In the end, Daisy moves out from Tom's grip and she says, "You take Nick and Jordan," to her husband Tom. "I'm going to ride with Gatsby. We're going to follow you in the coupe." Okay, so this is again a reminder that Gatsby is new money, that little dig that he gets in about the circus wagon. But ultimately, Daisy chooses to ride with Gatsby. So that's a huge blow. Now, it's important to remember who's in what car. So Tom is actually driving Gatsby's car with Nick and Jordan, and Gatsby is driving Tom's car with Daisy. Round six. "Where are we going?" she cried. "How about the movies? It's so hot," she complained. You go. We'll ride around and meet you after. This round goes to Gatsby because basically Daisy just told Tom to his face that she wants some alone time with Gatsby. So the cars pulled up to each other at a stoplight and they said, let's decide on a place to go. And she goes, you guys kind of go ahead and we'll meet you later. We're gonna just ride around for a bit and we'll meet you later. I want to spend some alone time with my boyfriend, Gatsby. Moving on to round 7, the thing to do is forget about the heat, said Tom impatiently. You make it 10 times worse by crabbing about it. Why not let her alone, old sport? Remarked Gatsby. So this is where it all kind of comes out. Now they're in the hotel room, and here's Gatsby defending Daisy. That is Tom's wife, and Gatsby says, hey, why don't you leave her alone? That's some nerve. Round 8, that's a great expression of yours, isn't it? Said Tom sharply. What is? All this old sport business. Where'd you pick that up? That round goes to Tom because he's pointing out that Gatsby is not really in style. That's not something an old money person would say. So when he says like, why are you talking like that, you weirdo? That's basically what he's saying. Nobody says that expression. It's not in style. Okay, round 9. By the way, Mr. Gatsby, I understand you're an Oxford man. Not exactly. Oh yes, I understand you went to Oxford. Yes, I went there. A pause. Then Tom's voice, incredulous and insulting. You must have gone there about the time Biloxi went to New Haven. I told you I went there, said Gatsby. I heard you, but I'd like to know when. It was in 1919. I only stayed 5 months. That's why I can't really call myself an Oxford man. This is a complicated conversation here, but the round ultimately goes to Tom because Tom is saying to Gatsby that I don't believe that you went to Oxford. Oxford is the most prestigious university in the entire world. And he says, I heard you that you went there, but I want to know when. Give me some details. He doesn't believe Gatsby. He calls his bluff and actually forces Gatsby to confess that he didn't really graduate from Oxford. He only really spent a semester there. So Gatsby is basically forced to admit that about himself, so that round goes to Tom. But in round 10, he redeems himself. Round 10 goes to Gatsby because he says it was an opportunity they gave to some of the officers after the armistice, he continued. We could go to any of the universities in England or France. So he redeems himself by explaining that he did actually study at Oxford. Even though he didn't graduate there, he did spend a semester there because he was given that opportunity through the army. So this is a reminder, too, that he also is a patriot and he served his country. He did something noble. And more than anything, though, the round goes to Gatsby because the reactions of Daisy and Nick reveal that they're rooting for Gatsby. Nick says he wanted to jump up and slap him on the back and congratulate him. Daisy tells Tom, go get some ice so you don't look so stupid to yourself. So they're clearly on Gatsby's side at this point. Round 11, here's when it all starts to come out. Wait a minute, snapped Tom. I want to ask Mr. Gatsby one more question. Go on, Gatsby said politely. What kind of a row are you trying to cause in my house anyhow? I suppose the latest thing is to sit back and let Mr. Nobody from nowhere make love to your wife. Now, it may seem like Tom is calling Gatsby out and being the aggressor, and he is, but this is exactly what Gatsby wants. Gatsby planned this whole day because he wants it out in the open that Daisy is his girl. His main objective is to have Daisy, and this is going to put it all in the open and move things in the direction of a divorce, or so he thinks. He wants Daisy to tell Tom that she never loved him. And so now when Tom says, hey, listen, I know what's going on between you two. I know about the affair. Tom is being the aggressive one, and it seems like he's cornering Gatsby, but in the end, this is what Gatsby wants to happen. Round 12. I know I'm not very popular. I don't give big parties. I suppose you've got to make your house into a pigsty in order to have any friends in the modern world. So this round goes to Tom because he's again pointing out that Gatsby is new money and he would never fit in with them. Okay, stay tuned for the second half of this worksheet.